We have an expert with us who's going to answer this question. I welcome on stage Mr. Fabio Gallerani, CEO and founder of Alaners LCC, to give us critical insight on the topic, transformational e-learning, the secret behind a life-changing e-learning experience. Mr. Fabio? Mr. Fabio, the clock is set in front of you at 20. I will let you know when you have 5 minutes left. Thank you.
So before I start, I would like you to give a big round of applause for GFEL. Please give a big round of applause for this amazing event. And I got two questions for you. Who would like to have an impact on the life of their student, for real? Please raise your hands. And who would like to learn how to do so with a practical methodology in the next 30 minutes? Please raise your hands. All right, so let's start. We're going to speak about transformational e-learning, the secret behind a life-changing e-learning experience. What is the secret to have an e-learning that can transform your student's life? And more in details, we're going to focus on this particular topic, which I'm going to show you in a minute, which is basically how to have an influence in your students, how to create a methodology that can impact the way they learn your topic, and how to have your student take action immediately and implement your knowledge, and then how to have them cooperating together, even if it is a learning experience, and last but not least, how to transform their life. Okay, so if you can please help me with the slides. This is not working. We can move on. So I talk about the influence, I talk about the methodology. Please go on until the rest of these slides, yes, because this is not working. Okay, so who is Fabio Gallerani? Why am I standing here today? Why I have the honor to be here? Well, today I have the privilege to be a bestseller author. I recently published my new book, All Inners, which speaks about entrepreneurship and professionals, and went bestseller on Amazon in October and November 2018. Then I have the honor to be a digital entrepreneur, which impacted over 35,000 people in the last 3 years. But more than this, I am honored to be considered a global educator, so I can impact especially professional entrepreneurs to transform first themselves and then their business. But this wasn't always the case. In fact, I want to tell you a story, and it's not a really happy story in the beginning. I was a sad student. I was in the faculty of the engineering, and while I was studying, I was feeling completely unmotivated. Like most of the students that then drop out university. So I decided to break away, and this is me with my parents in Bologna, when I decided to take a job opportunity in the United States and end up doing this job. I was cleaning silverware for 6 months, but at least I was feeling useful. This is happening to many students in your universities, and you don't know. That's the problem. So in that experience, I had the opportunity to learn other languages. I had the opportunity to become a server, which interact with the people in the restaurants. It was an Italian restaurant in Walt Disney World, Orlando, Florida. And the best part of that experience was this guy, this meeting. I met Matteo, which today is my business partner, in the backyard of a restaurant, cleaning silverware. Me and Matteo, we kept in touch for months after, and years. He went to work in Australia, I worked in Spain, and then in 2014, always keeping my university career on hold, we decided to become entrepreneurs. In 2014, we took a chance to work and open a market in Argentina, and we flew together in South America, 12,000 kilometers from our home, and this was us. This was us hustling in the street, trying to find the right connection to make that business plan work. and end up in a big failure. Matteo left, I left, because Argentina was not allowing us to import products. So I almost quit to become an entrepreneur. And my university sent me an email and said, Mr. Gallerani, you're wandering around the world. Please, come back, finish your career, or we will cancel it. After that, I was forced to go back to Bologna, and I finished my career in a big effort. I closed myself in a room, studying, and then I graduate, until a moment that made me think. And that moment was when, during the graduation ceremony, the professors were telling us, engineers, that we need to adapt, because there is a crisis. You need to adapt yourself to what you find, and even if you cannot find a job, just go at McDonald's. Maybe they will find you a job. When I heard these sentences, I decided to go back to my entrepreneurial career and make a difference in innovation, in education, because that's not acceptable. And this is happening every day in university, and most of us don't know. And most of us are here to change that. So I entered with Matteo in the field of digital marketing. We learn new skills, and we focus on giving high-income skills to students that were looking to get the right skill for the right moment so they can find a high-paid job. So I launched improved platform. This was an e-learning platform with no students, and it was an almost empty e-learning platform. So what happened is that for 2 years, I wasn't able with Matteo to get any students, because maybe the topic we were teaching, like negotiation and persuasion and all this stuff for entrepreneurs in particular, were not working. Can you move the slide, please? So it was an almost empty learning platform until the moment that Matteo, in the 7th of November 2016, after 2 years of deep studies and deep implementing, we came up with an idea of teaching digital marketing to everybody, entrepreneurs, professionals, and everybody that wanted to implement digital marketing to get exposure, to launch their business, and launch startups business. So the Marketing Genius born in 2016, the 7th of November, and was a big success. Overnight, we sold 100 courses, and we immediately got a big business there. And can you move the slide, please? Next. So what happened is that the business grew so much that we decided, from the house basement, for real, this is me and Matteo, this is him with a hoodie, to improve the platform and make it more innovative, social interaction. Because we understand that people in the e-learning, they're not robots, they are human beings, and they are alone in their room playing a video. You have to understand that. So we innovate the Marketing Genius platform, and well, I will say next when you need to change the slide, because this is not working. So next. We try to innovate, and everything was going very well. So, what is this? Sorry guys, this is not acceptable. Okay, so, you like the story until now? Okay. So I decided to create a movement because community was too weak. So I created a manifesto, and people learning digital marketing were, improving their skills. So the second platform was a big success. People call it a social media of digital entrepreneurs, and was going on very, very well for many years. And until a moment that we find out a problem, which is nobody almost was going through the course until the end. And this is an issue that all the learning platform has, even if you gave a certification to your students, because they are not motivated to do so. If they are not motivated in the classroom because the professor teaches just theory, why they should be motivated on an e-learning platform, even if you give them a certification? So we decided to innovate again the space, and the course was called Marketing Genius All In. Marketing Genius was the platform. The course was called All In because we placed all in our knowledge, and we gave them a wristband to place in their wrist. We invite them in a live event, giving them the wristband so they can feel part of a real movement, and the wristband say all inners. And from that moment on, now I understand the other speakers yesterday. This is not working. So the issue was 76.4% didn't even finish or started the course. Even, people buy programs and then they feel already accomplished. They say, yeah, I'm happy, but then they don't implement, so they don't change their life. So we keep moving. We give this wristband to our students, and the idea was very successful. Everybody put their wristband on, and they were able to start changing. They start getting together. They start feeling the change, because digital marketing, if you apply it to your business, you blow up. You have success because it's all about exposure. Even with young entrepreneurs exiting university, or even just studying at university with an idea, they find digital marketing the boost to launch their ideas and succeed. And with this unity, they were able to do so. And so we rebranded everything. The All Inners Conference born. All Inners Conference is our event now. And we created the All Inners book, which, if the slides move on, since there is nobody in there helping me, but I will fight because I'm an All Inner, All Inner never give up. That's why they're called All Inners. If I give up, imagine, it will be ridiculous. So I will keep fighting against this piece of technology, and then we decided to found the brand. The brand All Inners was founded in 2018. So long story short, I will move until the slides moves, but they don't move. So I don't give up, and I tell you that we started applying the same methodology I applied to my e-learning platform that achieved 35,000 students today, almost 26,000 active, 1.3 million of revenue in the last 12 months alone, but more, many lives were changed one by one. So I'm unable to move on, but I will tell you the story anyway. Then we had started to apply this methodology to institutional education, because it's easy to exit the bureaucracy and avoid rules, and create your own platform, launch it, and have success. But what if this methodology I used work also for institutional education? This will be a big change, because the future is online and on e-learning platform. So you see the All Inners Conference. You can move on, please, next. And then big success, a lot of people. This was the last event in Milan. Yeah, and this was the book. So the movement was started, and the movement was being created through an innovative e-learning platform. These are real numbers in the last 13 months. This has been done without any endorsement by any, just with faith, impacting people with your knowledge. So then, as I told you, a university from Miami contacted us and said, hey, we've been watching your market for the last 2 years, and we decided you guys are the two that will help us to change the e-learning space in the institutional area. And we created a course called Digital Marketer after impacting a lot of lives. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, as you can see, a lot of testimonials. Next slide, please. Then we had a lot of one by one, everybody giving us an hug. So this was the event live. But let's move to the methodology. How did I achieve that? You can go ahead in many slides until the secret behind. This was our personal transformation, which is crazy. 2 guys cleaning silverwares, now running a multi-million-dollar business in e-learning space, with the faith to change, to make a change. So you can move on. And so the opportunity came And we were able to impact people, you see, institutional education, certificates, universities. So this was working also in a space heavily controlled by bureaucracy, by regulation, you know. So what was the secret behind a life-changing learning experience? You can move on at least 3 slides. The impact methodology. This was a methodology I kept secret until today. Today is the first time I announce it in public. I use this in a private consulting, strategic consulting with universities after we achieved what we achieved. And the impact is very practical. So after a lot of theoretical ideas, I want to give you a practical methodology you can implement in your education if you are at the university and professional level. Doesn't work with high school, so don't try. So how does it work? Next slide, please. How do you apply this methodology to your learning? You apply it by understanding the word impact. Please, next slide. But first, 3 important premises. The teacher must have some real-world experience on a topic. So avoid to have teachers that teach theory and they never applied that in the real world. This is happening in universities every day and happened to me. I had people, professor, very renowned professor, that they kept the distance between us, you know, and them. That's not good because people then lose faith in us as educators. So please have people that do what they teach. Then the content must be digitalized, and most of all, you must have a clear outcome in what you teach. Who I become through this course. Stop selling me a course and you don't tell me who I will become in the future. Stop telling me, do the exam to do the score, then maybe you have a success in your life. It doesn't work like that. That's why a lot of people exit the system and have success by themselves, because that doesn't work anymore. Maybe it worked 100 years ago. Now it's not working. So this methodology is based on influence. The educator must position themselves as influencer. Is not avoidable anymore if you want to work in the e-learning space. Why? Because people watch online. They take decision, and also young people take decision, especially on what they see. And parents look at you online and say, okay, they want me to go through this course. The university is very renowned, but are the educators real good in what they teach? So influence is the first part. Then the second part is methodology. Methodology, there must be a methodology that in how the content is strategically delivered. Then you have to have practicality, follow the 20-80 rules. 20% theory, 80% practical implementable knowledge, okay? Especially in new skills like digital marketing. Then the next part, please go ahead. Practicality, then the next one. Action, the educators must empower students. Next one. Cooperation, the students must have a place to discuss online. And transformation. So let's move ahead. In the last 5 minutes, I will give you the case study. Because you say, hey Fabio, you tell us all these rules. Who do you think you are? I'm an ex-student that graduates because I believe in education, that was able to implement a practical methodology to use the future of education in learning and have an impact in thousands of people. Just in Italy, I don't teach in English, even if I can, or in Spanish. También puedo enseñar en español, pero no lo hago. Why? Because I want to focus in the country, which is my country, that have mainly this issue in the educational space. So is it possible to digitalize the content for our skills? Yes, digital marketing can be digitalized. Then are the teacher influent in what they teach? Yes, me and Matteo, we mentor entrepreneurs and professionals in the last 3 years. Next slide, please. So does the course have a clear outcome? Yes, the course is called Digital Marketers. They have a very clear outcome. So we can go fast to the next slide. Please go to the next slide. So influence, go next. The educators must position themselves. So how do you apply influence in your case study, in your schools? Please, next. Next. Omnipresence. This is very interesting. You can go next. Me and Matteo, we are business influencers. This is not why, this is not, we want to do a lot of content, is you must do content. If you have a university that teaches stuff and another university, competitor to you, start to create content, you will be taken out of business in the next 5 years. So create content at least for the people that teach. This is very strategical. Instagram, we just publish videos on Instagram, so we don't do fancy things. Course announcement, when we announced the course, I go ahead. When we announced the course, can you come back to the course announcement? When we announced the course, you can see 9,000 people saw our announcement, and so we were able to impact hundreds of people, even with a university that didn't operate in Italy before. It was an international university announcing an e-learning course. If they didn't do it through us, they will have failed. Why? Because nobody cares of your offer, of your information, of your certification. They care about who I become with your education. You can go next. We can go fast in the methodology. You can go in the slides. So 4 modules, 4 months, very fast course. This is a specialization course because we wanted to impact people with digital marketing skills. And digital marketing changes after 4 months, so it's useless to do 3 years course on digital because when they graduate, everything will be different. You can go next. Then, so you can see in these slides, you can go through the slides now. We have different modules with different topics, all focused on the 20-80 rules, so 20% theory, which is important, and 80% practicality. We push our students to take action in what they learn, because in this field especially is very critical. You can go ahead, you can move on, please. So practicality, as I told you, we can see the next slide, which is how we teach. This is a screen share. Most of the time we see people with PowerPoint, bullet point, teaching digital marketing. You have to show me what to do. So even if I teach strategies in brand positioning, I tell you to go out there and see the real world case studies. That means walk on the street and see how the brands are positioned. Because that's the reality. It's not Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. It's the reality is in the street. Action, in the Facebook group, the educator push the students to take action. You can go to the next slide. We empower people. After the webinar, we are present. If you are not present as an educator in e-learning, you fail. Facebook private groups. Why Facebook? I have a place in my platform which is very nice. No. Mark Zuckerberg in 2004 created Facebook to let students communicate. Do you agree? Everybody agrees? Okay. So Facebook group is a very powerful way. You can go to the next slide and see how people can interact, because the reality is that people live on Facebook. They live there. So you cannot tell a student log on the e-learning platform and please discuss here. They will never do so. You can go next slide. Transformation, and this ends my presentation because this is the real target of this presentation. You must transform your student. How? You can go next slide and we see the graduation ceremony. I know you do graduation ceremony, but can you go back? The graduation ceremony is very critical. Please do not graduate students. Most of universities, they don't give the certificate right away. Do you think that is fair? Do you think it's fair that, can you go back? When I graduate, they shake my hand and say, good luck. Do you think it's fair? Anybody has an opinion on this? Okay. So transformation is also testimonials. After the graduation, let people tell what they think about you, because if you run an e-learning course, people decide online. They don't decide offline. If you bring people from the offline to the online, maybe it's working, but you're not impacting anybody. Trust me. The only way to impact people online is to let them have a voice offline. So you must bring them and celebrate them like we are doing today in this event. We are celebrating success and innovation. Without this event, we will feel a little bit less motivated. That's why we are here, to celebrate. So to end my presentation, I have a message for you today, and I ask, do not reveal the next slide. You can go next slide, but it's the last minute of the presentation. It's very critical. Thank you. Do not sell information. It's fine. The next slide is more important. Don't go to the next slide. Okay, thank you so much. Go back, please. Can you go back?
Back one slide, please.
Yeah, so don't sell information. Information everybody can see information online. Everybody can have a smartphone and look for information. That's why universities have less power than 20 years ago. So people do not decide based on information. Do not sell certification. It's a very powerful way to sell a course certification, but it's very obvious. What I suggest you to do, and we can move to the last slide, is to sell transformation. Remember, people buy a better version of themselves, always. So if you want to implement an e-learning, you should sell the better version they look for and let them know the process that is needed to go there. And also when they arrive, they reach the results, of course they have to be celebrated. So this is my message for you today. Anybody has any question? One question, quick question?
No, I'm sorry, we don't have time for questions, but thank you very much for your information.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.